Welcome all as we congregate to the greatest toy line community, ever growing, ever changing. As we collect and adapt these figures to our own imaginations and embrace the fun, there's much to learn, especially if you're new to Mythics.
Oh man, welcome. What a night. What a treat. We've got the Elijah Baker, FIREBEARD Baker in studio. Well, my satellite studio in London. How you doing, man? Thank you for representing that shirt. Thank you, man. You look damn sexy in that shirt, man.
You know, Greg, it takes one to know one, brother.
Hey, there you go. There you go. How you doing, man?
I'm grand, brother. I'm great, man. I'm great. I'm just excited to do the show and just getting over the festive period. I'm still recovering from eating copious amounts of, you know. So
yeah. I hear you. I we did lasagna, and man, I was like, just sitting in my chair, like, oh no, man, it was garlic breath, just man. But, man, I'm so glad you're here, dude. We've been talking about it since Legion's Con. I'm like, dude, you got to come on the show. And of course, you're in London. I'm here in Michigan, so there's a little bit of a time gap. And you're a busy dude. I'm a busy dude, but we made it work, man. We're here. It's a little late. It's what 11-ish, 11:40 almost where you are.
Yes, man. I mean, you know,
you're a young guy. You're a young guy. You got
what is time, Greg? You know,
what is time? What is time? Just a concept, man.
Yeah, you know.
But I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much this Friday night. I want to talk toys. I want to talk Legion's Con, of course, the aftermath, you know, coming down after Legion's Con, you know, or the journey to Legion's Con for you. We got to get into all of that.
Yes, brother. Yes,
well, let's start when you were a young man.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of stuff did you collect? You know, what was the kind of things, the figures and toys that you were interested in as a kid?
Yeah. First of all, Greg, thank you for having me, and I'm really excited.
It's my honor. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Yeah. So the first things I can remember collecting were probably Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Mm-hmm.
They were the first. I've never stopped loving TMNT. You know.
You have a favorite turtle?
Yeah, Michelangelo.
There you go. There you go.
I think I relate the most to him because of the red hair, which is kind of orangish, and then loving nunchuckers. Nunchuckers are my weapon of choice.
Oh, nunchucks are the shit, man.
Oh, yeah, brother, man. And then also I think attitude-wise, you know, because naturally, like I'm someone who I'm very I like to just have fun a lot of the time, and at times I don't like taking things. I mean, I think a lot of us don't always like taking things too seriously because that's kind of boring. But I think more so than the other turtles, I relate to Mikey because there's potential there, but I can't always be bothered to take this. I just want to have fun, you know. And Mikey is that person, and I remember they were saying. I remember it's been said in several iterations of TMNT that Mikey is naturally gifted, but he clowns around so much. He actually can't. He'd rather have fun, you know. He doesn't want to. He can lead, but he doesn't want to. He just wants to have fun. But then, of course, sometimes you've got to be a bit more Leonardo sometimes, and you have to take it seriously. Otherwise, nothing really gets done, you know. But TMNT for sure. And I would say, Batman as well. Batman figures. I used to play with a lot as a kid. And
we're going to come back to Batman in a little while. But Batman is a great. So I'm interested, like, what iteration of the Turtles, because you're younger than a lot of the people that watch this show or you know, in the community. What was the iteration of the Turtles that attracted you at that time?
Right. So it's an interesting one because I was born in 1991, and I know the first live action TMNT movie came out in 1990. Mm-hmm. So I did grow up. Yeah, you know.
I did school. I was in high school.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? fuck this. I'm taking the day off. I was so pumped.
Oh yeah.
Like when I've said this before, like I there was only the comic book when I was a kid of the Turtles.
Oh yeah.
And when I heard in Comic Scene magazine that they were making a movie, I was just like, what? Like I couldn't believe it. So like when it's finally coming, I'm like, you know what? I'm getting on my bicycle, I'm calling in, I'm not going to school, I'm going to see that movie, and it did not disappoint, man. I was just so pumped to see it.
Oh yeah, man. That movie, I mean, for me, it's an interesting one because, because like there's so many movies that came out like the year I was born or a year before I was born that are epic. Like Hook, for example. Hook's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
Right. And that came out, I believe it came out in 1991, but it's like these movies would have come out. Yeah, we could have grown up on them, but it's a case of like they came out when we were born, but we was other bits and pieces we might have been.
You were around it, and it was new. It was new back then.
Of age, like that, maybe 5 or 6 to kind of, But the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that I really grew up with was probably the first cartoon that came out. Where you had them. It's a bit more goofy, and funny enough, they actually changed it to Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles in the UK.
Really, I didn't know that.
To make it sound less violent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though no one was getting killed, that there'd always be like, they throw a weapon at something and the bricks collapse.
Right.
Like the A-Team.
Indirect damage.
Like I think like maybe 2 people died in the whole of the A-Team series, even though they were firing.
Right. Yeah, they got machine guns like all over the place,
Yeah. People are getting like watermelons.
Right.
But,
right. Exactly.
It's definitely like that version that I grew up with, and I love that cartoon. Like I had the video VHSs and all that sort of stuff, and the action figures. They were some of my first action figures that I can remember. The TMNT figures from that particular like the late 80s, early 90s cartoon. But the live action movie is still one of my favorite movies to this day. I've got it.
Oh, it still holds up. It's still a lot of fun. The animatronics. I remember like I wasn't like skeptical or jaded as a kid or now, but like I was like, man, I hope it's good. And like I just wanted them to be able to do martial arts in the suits. You know what I mean? I had no problem with it being people in suits. I just wanted it to be them to be able, and they did. Like they did all kinds of, and they hired, martial artists, which I thought was a great idea to do it. And they really did it. Like my dog is scratching.
Well, he's getting involved. He's like, listen, I want to be in this conversation.
Hey, come here. The floor don't get no softer. Come on, one up here. Yeah, just there you go. There you go. But yeah, it blew me away. Like what they achieved with the animatronics and the martial arts and the suit. Those guys, they did amazing work, man.
Oh, phenomenal, man. I mean, everything about that movie. This is what a lot of, I feel like, the big mainstream movies lack today. Like this movie had soul, it had heart.
Yes.
And it's not just like, I know a lot of these big movies now, it's about explosions and special effects and all that sort of stuff. This movie for me, I mean, what's interesting as well, Greg, because it didn't rely so much on, CGI, because I guess CGI wasn't really a thing as much back then.
Very expensive.
Yeah, that's why it's able to be timeless, because CGI improves every few years. So the fact that they use loads of practical effects still like stand the test of time today. And the music, I love the music, man. I'll be listening to the soundtrack sometimes, just on a random one,
It's like upbeat and it's fun and it's
Yeah, and it really, I feel like they kind of like these kind of cartoons and these movies that were made back then, they kind of made them for a generation that maybe was a bit tougher, a bit more thicker skin, because like they would have serious moments like that, generally speaking. I know there's still great movies being made, but I mean generally speaking, because like that Raphael, for example, on the rooftop fighting the foot ninja, and then him getting really badly injured, and then but the whole drama of it, and I feel like sometimes there are people that can be film snobs where if it's a certain genre, they'll be like, oh yeah, they'll kind of dismiss it, rather than actually look at the content of what actually happens in the film. And it's such a sweet movie, with their dad with Splinter, and even how Leo cares so much for his brother. Like he's like he cares more than his other brothers, even though they all love him. He loves hard, even though they clash and they have their issues, like Raphael and Leo. When it comes down to it, they'll die for each other, So there's so many.
But think about like how well they emoted in these rubber suits, you know, and anime. I mean, they probably couldn't see shit. You know, they had little slits under the eye mask.
Yeah.
You could see, but like everything they had to do, like they had to move and make you feel what was going on. Like that can't be easy, dude.
I think they had multiple masks as well with different expressions. You know, I'm watching the making of it, and yeah, they do. But even Casey Jones and and April and just the supporting cast like Shredder and even I forget his name, man. You know the second in command with the bald head. That
not Tetsuo.
Master Tetsu. Yeah. Like every element of it, even the report. Like,
I was obsessed.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that movie more times than I can remember. I can probably quote like 95% of the film.
Yeah, well, it was one of like I think 89 was when Batman came out, and that movie it kind of broke the barriers in that and home video. Like a lot of times you couldn't really own a movie, like you had to go to the video store, and it was really expensive. So like right around Roger Rabbit and Batman, like the Warner Home Studio, they were like they smartened up and they're like, you know what, let's sell it at retail, and so they did like it was like $16.99 or something, which is kind of expensive back then, but you could watch Batman, you could watch Roger Rabbit, you could watch Ninja Turtles as many times as you wanted to at home. So it was a huge thing, Toy Story. So like it was great because man, I remember when Ninja Turtles came out in the home video, like I went and bought it, like I used all my allowance and picked it up and I played the crap out of it. Like I just watched it over and over again, man, because it was just like you said, it had soul. And the difference, not to get too deep into film, which we will circle back to, but these days I feel a lot of it is like executives and they're doing formulas, like Disney formulas, over and over again, like and these small, and that's why I think a lot of these smaller movies resonate, or A24, these movies that are made by independent or smaller studios, because they have heart and they have they're not following the guidelines that these executives kind of if I'm giving you money, then you need to make this kind of movie, and it just kind of like pasteurizes, and I think like what you were saying, the Ninja Turtles, it really had a lot of soul for being one of the first comic book movies that were out there. It still holds up.
Yep, to this day. I completely agree with you, and that's
to this day.
Yeah.
Have you seen the suits now? Like they showed like the suits nowadays, dude, they're scary. They're like falling apart. You can see like you can see the metal skull underneath, and the eyes are all.
Man, they should. You know what it is? There is ways to preserve that sort of stuff, but I guess they just had it in the warehouse for the last like 30-something years. But I mean, it's the heart that is always there, and even when things do improve, even when something looks dated, you can tell the set is a painting. Like none of that matters, because as long as the performances are there and the story is there and it's filmed well, like people can watch these movies from like Laurence Olivier when he was a youngster, and they can watch these black and white films, like like with Christopher Lee, Dracula, and that, because there's still heart there, even though they're very dated.
You should know these names, dude. You're too young for that, man.
A bit of a movie buff there, man. But
we'll have to talk movies sometime.
Oh yeah. And that's why I know we're gonna get onto the movies, but that's why Lord of the Rings, as you know, it still holds up so well because they use practical effects. Like
such a good example.
Like they got the perfect balance. I feel in the first.
Yeah, they were so packed with emotion and heart, and it just like brotherly, love and friendship and hope, like so much positivity. Like I mean, how old are these movies? They're like what, 20 years? Like they're
like late 90s, like early 2000s, right?
I'm shocked that they're that old, but they still, like, I watch them all the time, like the extendeds. Man.
Oh, dude, me and my buddies, like we set up a movie marathon movie, right? And we watched the original extended edition Lord of the Rings films, and we're gonna do every year. I want to do it every year at least. It's like a year. Same as the Harry Potter films, right? It's like a yearly thing.
Yeah, I mean the extended, it takes, and especially if you stop for snacks.
Oh yeah. And the thing is, it's like
plus
we're not robots, you know. We're not going to get together and not speak to each other. Like, just press play, everyone get in, get the snacks. Like, we're going to talk. And for me, I pause it, because when I find that when the conversation, when the conversation's flowing too much, I'm like, right, guys, stop, pause.
Yeah, do your thing. You know, get on your social media for a minute. You know, your girlfriend's texting you. That's fine. You know, and then let's get back to this, because it's so rich. Like, you're immediately transported to this world, you know, Hobbiton and all that. It's just, there's so much.
Yeah,
so much there, dude. Like, they're magic, and they always will be. They're classics.
I know we could do a whole podcast just talking about the extended edition, you know, but there's the main, like, watching. Have you seen all the behind the scenes on the box set as well?
Dude, that's another rabbit hole. Like, you like he like just documented so much that you could spend hours and hours just watching all the making of, because it's so interesting. Like, man,
it was
like you get more of the movie when you're watching the making of and stuff like that. You're getting even more. So, like, the movie ends and it's like, I want to watch, and that's when you know the movie is really good. Like, if I get on IMDb and I'm like researching the, you know, like, I just watched the new Bob Dylan movie, and like, I was like, I want to IMDb, who's this actress? Who's this actor? Like, they're freaking good. And what happened after this? And that's when you know a movie really, you know, touches you, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And the only thing, the nugget I'll say, because I know that's a whole podcast by itself. The nugget that I thought of to mention it in the first place, and we can always relate things, because Lord of the Rings is mythic adjacent.
Yes, that's right.
Always kind of make it make sense, you know. But the number one thing I take from it, and so many lessons, as you know, from these amazing movies, TMNT and Lord of the Rings alike, right? However, the lesson I think of out of top of the head is, you know, Tolkien's very mature, intelligent way of knowing when to pull back. You know, like, because he was working on a sequel to Lord of the Rings, and then he wrote several chapters, and he said, you know what, it's completed, I'm good. Like, he knew when to pull back, you know, and I feel like that's such an important lesson, not just for myself, but for everyone, to know when enough is enough. You know, you can, like, you know, have the story, know when to end it. It's like, even when we take pictures, like, you got to know when to finish editing it, release it. Like, just know it, because you can go too far with the edit and mess the picture up.
You know? That's a whole creative thing, though. Like, if you talk to people that, you know, draw or paint or write or create, you know, music or whatever, it's like, how do you know when it's done? You know what I mean? It's like, you have to stop. You have to be like, and a lot of times, like, I used to write a lot when I was younger, and I would stop and put it away. And then I would come back to it a week, 2 weeks, a month, and then read it. And then I'd be like, am I happy? Did I express everything that I wanted to in the right way? Yes. Okay. Then I'm done. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But you can always go back and George Lucas it, you know, and
reimagine it, right? Yeah, I mean, you know what, Greg? When I have those moments, for example, when I take pictures and do an edit of them, you know, I guess we could use a fancy phrase and say our contemporaries, when really it's, you know, we send pictures, like, to our friends sometimes, right? And be like, you know, here's 3 options, which one do you think's the best? And, you know, so we have to get references from friends and family sometimes, you know, to be like, what do you think? And they're like, dude, leave it. Like, right. You know, release it, you know, like, or, you know, or just do it. Or, you know, and that's why I think it's so important to be open-minded, to listen to people whose opinions you respect, rather than just be by yourself and have no one that can tell you. And people say that's why Lucas's films went in a bit of a different direction, because they said at that point, I guess he was just so tunnel vision.
Well, I think it helps to have people that you trust, or a partner that will be tough love and tell you, you know what I mean? Like, there was times when I was writing, and my ex-wife now, but she would be like, you're veering from what you're intending. And I'm like, okay. And I never took it as like, it was not mean. It was truth and honesty. Like, hey, you know, this is good, but you're veering, you know what I mean? Like, stay on track. And I'm okay. I appreciate that. So I think people need, you know, creative people, they need that, you know, someone to trust, that they can give, like, here, I'm giving you a piece of myself, and I trust that you're not going to say this is shit or this is bullshit. You're going to be honest with me. If this is not me, then tell me. It's not going to hurt my feelings if you're being sincere and truthful, and I trust you. You're not going to just crap on it. You're going to tell me, it needs this or it needs that. Because I think if you're not honest with them, and I'm like, Elijah, dude, that was the best picture I've ever seen. If I'm bullshitting you, then what am I doing for you? What am I doing? Like, I'm not helping you. I'm not doing any, you know what I mean? So
I agree, Greg. Yeah, ultimately, I think it's disrespectful to be dishonest.
yes.
It's like if someone's like, oh, do I, I know sometimes it can be sensitive when it comes to like, oh, do I look great in this? And you're like,
yeah, I mean, your feelings are there, but like, and I think that's something that George Lucas, because like, who's going to tell him no?
At that point,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
who's going to be like, George, this is bullshit? Maybe Harrison Ford, but you know what I mean? It's like, there's no one that, creatively that's going to be like, yeah, that's not,
Yeah, they're gonna think twice. We see it in so many fields. It's the same in boxing. A lot of the time, you get these champions who are scared to be honest with their charge. With the champion because they don't want to lose their job, so they get fired. So they'll let a champion be delusional and keep making mistakes. Same in so many fields, but I know what you mean. But ultimately, I feel like it's just great to have that community. Where people can talk to people and
be honest,
and listen to each other and be honest. Yeah, because no one is an island. So it's important to listen to each other.
But yeah, surround yourself with people good people. So what was your Batman? Who was your Batman back then?
Back then in the 90s, it would have probably been closer to, do you know what? Ironically, I mean, not that I looked at it this way, but it probably would have been Val Kilmer, wouldn't it? Because around that time, Val Kilmer was Batman, wasn't he?
Yeah.
With the Riddler and that Jim Carrey's Riddler and Tommy Lee Jones's Two-Face, it would have had to have been Val Kilmer. But do you know what? Bro? Is that what, Greg? I would say my Batman was really the animated series. In my opinion, the best.
Perfect.
Right? Like that the theme with no lyrics in the song. It
balanced Batman so well. There was a little bit of humor, mostly serious. It took it serious.
Very serious. Yeah. Oh, and great. That's the thing we were talking about earlier, right? It's like there was more respect for kids in terms of their brains, like, and what they could.
Yes.
Because it was kind of dark. It's a dark series.
Yes, it was dark, but it was good for kids and adults. Like I remember coming home from my first job. I was a dishwasher. I would come home and I would tape it. It would be on at like 4:30, and I would tape it, and then I would watch it when I eat dinner later. And I would just be like spellbound watching this, But kids would be the same. Like they probably took different things from it than I did, but it was just so good, and they respected us. And that means a lot. I mean, and stuff like that, it stands the test of time. For sure.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because that's the thing, Greg, because it's like when people say, oh, you hear people say, oh, music's crap nowadays. And it's like, no, a lot of mainstream music is crap nowadays because of what's pushed. But there's always going to be great artists and always going to be great music. And same with, independent is where my heart is most of the time when it comes to film and music, because there's less of an agenda there. It's more about just expression rather than ticking boxes and looking for formula. And I feel like when something's timeless, I've watched Batman this year, the animated series. Like I've been rewatching.
It's still great. It's still
man. Every iteration is great, and that's why for me, I feel like that show programmed me in a good way to feel like Ben Affleck aesthetically is the best Batman we've had. Like aesthetically,
yes, I agree. I it's funny, like. I mean, we could talk a whole podcast on Batman. You know what I mean? Like the different iterations. Like I have loved most of them, and I think Affleck was like, and people always bring up that warehouse scene, and I'm like that. I was so excited when I saw him move like that. When I saw him take apart those dudes, and it goes back to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like the movie. To see them move like that was like it was like watching the comic, because when you're a kid and you're reading a comic or the cartoon, it's like you're imagining. So like when I was reading the comic, like it's frame, like I'm not seeing everything that happens. But like when I saw Ben Affleck as Batman, like jump into the through the window from his Batwing or plane and go in and just demolish these guys. Like, I mean, he fought, like he got hurt, he got a knife in him, he got shot in the head. Like, you know, it's realistic in that sense that you're gonna get hurt. Like,
I remember how rough that scene was. Yeah, it was brutal.
Man.
It was brutal.
But that to me was like such a perfect, like that to me was Batman. I'm like, yes, and I'm bummed out. Like I love the Pattinson version. It was one of my favorite movies of that year. What was it, 21, 22?
That came out in 22, I think.
We're gonna circle back to that, but that I love that movie. I adored it, really. But that scene of Affleck, I'm like, that's my Batman right there, just because I felt like it really respected Batman. You know what I mean? And I don't know about his Bruce Wayne. His Bruce Wayne seemed cool. Like he seemed very grim, very serious. And like, you would expect Batman, like Bruce Wayne, to have all this weight on his shoulders. You know what I mean? Like the guilt and the rage and the, you know what I mean? Like he's got so much, like he feels in my mind that he's carrying Gotham. Like he's responsible. Like he's the father of this city and he's responsible. If somebody dies, it's on him.
Yeah.
Like, I should be out there. There's a scene and I'm getting chills just thinking about it. There's a scene in Schindler's List. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
You know what? That's a movie that I've got on DVD and I've
watch it, dude. It will mess you up. But there's a scene.
Mood though, you know, like to
it's hard. It's one of those movies where I'm just gonna watch it once.
Yeah, but I know Liam Neeson and I know like a lot about it, but I need to.
There's a scene where Liam Neeson towards the end was like feeling like I could have did more. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like he's like this pin right here, it could have saved two prisoners. I could have paid to have two more, and now it's just, what is it? It's just gold. It's nothing. Like he was feeling like the weight of what was going on, and I think that Bruce Wayne has that weight of like feeling responsible. If he's not out there, then people are dying. So he feels that weight, and I think like Ben Affleck had that kind of, and I think Pattinson did too. I think Pattinson's a great actor. He's younger, but like he had that kind of like, not dread, but just like so much pressure self-imposed on him, like he kind of conveyed that.
Yeah, and there's tension within because of it, because no one's chose Bruce Wayne to be Batman. He's chosen himself. No one's told him he needs to do this. This is what's interesting, because it's this sort of self-inflicted, guilt. If he can't. I think it's powerful, isn't it, Greg? Because it's like he's put all this responsibility on himself because he has the means to help people. So it's kind of like there's this inner voice that's told him you have an obligation because you have the funds and you have the means. You have an obligation, and the physicality. You have the obligation to protect people. So it is quite a powerful kind of sentiment in that way, and I guess people they have comparisons to Tony Stark, don't they? They say that,
right?
That was kind of like, Tony Stark was a bit of I guess a homage in the nicest sort of way. Like they kind of took ideas, because I know DC and Marvel, they had their they've got their versions of each other, haven't they?
Right, yeah. But I think that's why Batman is so popular, is that he's more relatable than Superman.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Like, he can get hurt. He can actually get
killed. I mean, I love Superman. Don't get me wrong. I've got a little shrine to Superman and Batman, but behind me, I've got the Batman masks and all this stuff. But I think people relate to Batman because he's flawed, he's damaged, he's human, he hurts, he feels. And
Greg, what's powerful about that is they relate to a billionaire, and most of these people aren't billionaires.
Right. But I think his money is like the least important, because I think even if he was a broke ass, Bruce Wayne would still be out there. He would wrap his knuckles up, he'd put a funky, black mask over his face, and still get out there and get after it. He would be, he might be in a Honda Civic, he may not be in that Batmobile, but he'd be getting after it. You know what I mean? Because he had that.
Yeah.
He had that drive.
You're right. He'd be doing a kick-ass, but with the skills.
Yes, he'd be kick-ass. Yeah, he'd be kick-ass for sure.
Oh no, I know what you mean, and that's it is. You're right. It's so intelligent how it was kind of put together and constructed, and I know we got to give credit to everyone that's come along and kind of upgraded it or added a little piece to it over the years. Because I know that the Adam West Batman is, of course, night and day, or dark night and day, in different ways compared to like the Tim Burton version, and then all the comics that I've grown up reading as well. My favorite version of Batman, and I'd say it's probably the same for most. Most people's favorite version wouldn't be the original Batman, in comparison, because I guess it's less realistic. The kind of outfits and all that. But I know that's what a lot of people grew up with. They grew up with, Batman, and that kind of version, right?
Yeah.
Tight clothing.
Well, that was my first, like that. I'll always love that. Like I keep pointing the wrong way. Like I have the Adam West. An autograph right there of him.
Oh, wow.
That was a Batman that I first remembered. That was the first superhero that I ever saw. It was before my time. I think they came out in 1966. I was born in 1973, but me and my dad watched the show together. So I had that, and I didn't know that Batman was like this grim, I don't think the show ever talked about his parents dying. I don't think they ever really mentioned too much about Dick Grayson's parents dying either. You know what I mean? It was kind of like a light, it was like Batman light, you know what I mean? But that was fine. Like I didn't need to know his drive or why he did it. He just did it because he was a good man, and that was good enough for me. Like I didn't analyze it. I was too young for that. So I'll always love Batman 66, but I love all iterations, you know what I mean? As long as they respect the property, you know what I mean? Then I will love that iteration. That being said, Joel Schumacher, I just didn't care for those, like the Clooney and the Val Kilmer. I was just not a fan.
Yeah,
that was me. That's just
no, but I get that. I get that. I mean, it's interesting because I feel like I feel like the director did speak before, saying that he gave the studio what they asked for.
Yes,
that's literally what they asked for. I know it ruined his career a little bit, didn't it? I think he didn't really do much.
I mean, he did a lot of good movies, and I think he probably felt the pressure. And this is a whole nother podcast thing too, I guess. But it's like the studio, and this is where they started to realize, hey, these things make money. We want the fans to be happy, we want the kids to be happy, we want the toy companies to be happy. So this is what we need to, and this is how we need to do it. So if we would have got Ben Affleck destroying people in the warehouse and having an M60 go through the wall, maybe it wouldn't have flown back then. I don't know. You know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean. It's interesting, isn't it? Because I feel like movies, before there was such a big deal with the action figures and all the merchandise, I think the way I look at it is the toys would have been based on things that happened in the film. Like rather than making this film, let's have a play set in mind for each scene. And like with Star Wars, like let's have a spaceship in mind for each scene. Like maybe that's how a lot of these companies think now, because they're like, we need, or like everyone needs to have different clothing in each film.
Yes.
Because we want different versions, we want more, we want to maximize sales.
That's why you see Spider-Man with like 5 different suits in the movie.
Yeah. So because like we need a new version. We need to keep adding. We need to use this mold. So we can resell it and paint it a little bit different.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I get you, and I feel like it's an interesting take, isn't it? The Patterson Batman, because obviously we're seeing him as a younger, less seasoned Bruce Wayne. And even Greg, even that whole idea of he when he puts a mask on, that's when he's being his truest self. When he takes the mask off,
I love that.
The mask, I love. That's just
ingenious. Yeah. I don't know where that came from. I don't know who originated that. And I'm gonna say it was a comic book that did that, but I could be wrong. But I love that. Like he can really be himself when he's got his suit on. Like that's him. But if you look at all the movies and all that stuff, it is kind of true because. Yeah. He was pretending when he was a millionaire playboy, whatever. Like he was, and I think Christian Bale did that really well. Like Gary Oldman's like, you just ran into, I think it was Dark Knight or something. He's like, you ran into whatever. Didn't you know that? And he's like, what? I did? Oh, I didn't know that. But he did know that. Like he was pretending to be like, dumb and ignorant, but he knew exactly what he was doing when he ran the car into I don't even remember.
I remember seeing, yeah, because he plays up the whole billionaire playboy stereotype of being out of touch and being a dick. Like he pretends to be that guy in order to throw people off. Because it's interesting. I was talking with a few of my friends about the new Superman trailer the other day, right? I was saying that it is fascinating because remember Superman would just the only difference would be a slight hair change and the glasses.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, how's no one?
Whoa! Who are you? Oh, there's Elijah. There you are.
Yeah,
whoa!
The whole different thing, you know, and mess up the hair. But you know what I mean, Greg? It's like,
crazy, man.
Yeah, if you think about it, it's like you're not looking back. You're just like, how did like people they saw Clark Kent as so different from Superman. Yeah. They thought wouldn't even enter their mind that that's the same guy.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
you wouldn't. I think unless you knew both directly, the odds that that person that you're seeing at work every day is a superhero, I'd be like, I mean, Elijah's a good dude, but there's no way that's
that guy.
That's not that guy, Yeah. I mean, he might have the same color hair and same kind of jaw thing going, but nah, that's not.
I know what you're saying. I think that it'd be harder now because of technology. You know, like camera phones and that. They take a picture, then analyze his jaw and say, "Hold on, that guy looks like the same guy." Huh? Like and they're never in the same place at the same time. Like you know what I mean. But
I think Trevor speculated that in this they probably are already together, him and Lois, and she already knows his secret.
Oh, okay.
Which I think is fine. I don't mind them jumping ahead and
no, not at all. I mean, it's been tough, Greg, man. I have to kind of get over the fact that we're never going to see Cavill as Superman.
Oh man,
that's I think most of us feel that way. Like it's like they fumbled so badly, man.
Man, that hurt my feeling, dude. I was in a bad mood for it because it hurt because I love James Gunn. Like I love all his movies. They're all good, even the horror stuff I liked.
Yeah.
I love his stuff. But like what they did to my man Henry, and I'm not blaming Gunn. Gunn is following his vision, and Cavill wasn't in it. Momoa wasn't in it. Gal Gadot was not in it. I get that. Like you're wanting a clean, like it would be like, if DC said, "Hey, Greg, we want you to write a new Batman comic," I want it to be mine. You know what I mean? And that's what he didn't want to deal with. Okay, but you got to have Momoa in this at the end, and you got to have, and it's like, is it mine? If I have all these stipulations, I want my, and I get that, and I think that's what Matt Reeves is like. This Batman version is mine. You know what I mean? Like I don't really, and I don't know what happened, but I'm sure in a way he was like, I don't really want it to be like, I don't really want to see Pattinson with Green Arrow and Cyborg and all that. Like I want, because like it seemed like Matt Reeves is following his vision and he wants it to be as real as possible, and that's kind of what Nolan did too in a different way. They wanted Batman like they had to sell it in their own brain. Like, okay, this is I'm doing a superhero movie, but I need to make it acceptable and believable in my mind. So this is my vision. Yeah, and I think that's what Matt Reeves did. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't want it connected to the previous ones as well because they want to make their definitive version of it. So I know what you mean. It is interesting how things go. Because even Ben Affleck, I would have loved to have seen him get a solo Batman movie.
That would have been, dude. I know. I was gonna make that point too. Like that warehouse scene. If I could have seen 2 hours of like him fighting Deathstroke and like just, and I noticed too. If you notice, Ben Affleck didn't play like he was like cool. Like when he was Bruce Wayne, like he wasn't like aloof. He was just himself, but like no bullshit. He was like like he did it different than Bale. Bale is kind of like, I'm young and I'm handsome and I'm rich, and you know what I mean, which was cool. Like it worked for him. Yeah. But Ben Affleck was kind of like more like older and jaded and like rude. Like no bullshit. Don't bullshit me, kid. You know what I mean? Like.
Well, Greg, did you ever hear those people talk about they loved Batman Beyond, right?
Yeah.
So people talk about the actor that would have been perfect for old Bruce would have been Clint Eastwood like 15 years ago.
Oh yeah.
You imagine Clint Eastwood playing an old Bruce Wayne.
Oh, yeah. for
Like,
sure.
that would be
That dude's like 91 now.
Yeah, he's still kicking, man, and he's still making
Still
movies.
making movies. I would call him sir. Like if he walked in, I'd be like, yes, sir.
Yeah,
Whatever
Clint,
you need, sir. Yeah.
I think he's, what is he, like 94,
He's
92?
90 something. I was just reading a review on his last movie. I'll have to check it out, called Juror Number 2.
And Scott's literally like Scott Eastwood's like his double, right? Like he looks so much like.
Yeah. I can see that dude doing like some heroic type of movies.
Oh yeah, he's getting there because I know like because I know when Clint first started, it was more of a presence as well, wasn't it? You know, like Arnold, like they were more of a presence, and then they get a bit more character in regards to what they can do, and they can emote more and all that sort of stuff. But at first, it was more of a presence. But yeah, no, Scott, he's he's a likable guy as well. So I'm sure that he could have those kind of roles. I haven't met him yet, but I'm saying just when I watched him in interviews and whatnot,
he seems like a good guy. Like he doesn't seem like an asshole.
No, not at all. I don't get that vibe.
I've met, being from California, I've met like a lot of actors, and like some are like just normal people like yourself, and others, man. Oh, like I was just thinking about this, and I won't name names, but like I still think about it. Like I met 2 actors that were in a movie that I love about zombies, and I love this movie.
Okay.
And ran into both of them. They were both going for the limo, and one stopped. They're both British. One stopped, shook my hand, and the other one walked by like I was a fly, like on his ham sandwich, like I was nothing, and like just sat in the car, like waiting for his friend to get in. And I was like, "Hey," and he just walked by me while his friend stopped and shook my hand. And I still think about that. I was like, you prick, man. I mean, you don't even have to touch me, but just acknowledge me like, hey man, thanks for watching. I appreciate you, being a fan.
Or
and
just
I still think about
something.
Maybe I'm being bitter or something, but
no, I get it. You know what? I feel like
we're human beings,
Yeah. I mean, it's a funny one, isn't it? Because I know sometimes people are like, you never know what people are going through and that sort of stuff. But from the friend stopped, the colleague, you think he could at least do a salute, or because that person who's that person who's a fan of you might, that's the first time they've ever seen. They might not see you personally again. So that one moment with you.
Yeah.
And
Luke Evans walked by. Luke. He turns around. How's it going? And like kept walking. I was just like, my man. Yeah. And that was the height of, I think, what was he in? Was he in the Lord of the Rings series?
Luke Evans is more that wasn't he? Was he Dracula? Was he in Dracula?
This was Dracula Untold, but he just did something that he was really hot in.
He's in Fast and Furious as well.
I don't remember. It was at Comic-Con, and that was the year that like I saw what's his name? Gollum. What's the guy's
Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis walked right in front of me, and I was just like, duh, like this was, and then that's when, and I think when I was there, it was The Hobbit had just come out, because what's his name was like just swamped, the guy that played
Bilbo.
Yeah.
Oh, Martin Freeman.
Thank you. I'm fogging out on the names. This poor guy, super nice dude, like, but he had to walk from the convention center across the street to the hotel, which was probably less than a quarter of a mile. Like it would take 10, 11 minutes or less. Mm-hmm. But like people were just like, you couldn't even see him. I'm like, who is that's coming? Like we were waiting by the hotel to see who would come in and out. There's Tom Hiddleston. There's, Andy Serkis. There's Bill Paxton, like these amazing, and this poor guy, Martin Freeman, like he couldn't even see where he was going. But I'm like, hey, Martin, and he stops and like, hey, how's it going? How are you? And then I'm like, I'm good, man. Thank you. Great movie, dude. Appreciate you. And he walked by. Thank you very much. And then the pack came back on him, and then he was able, once they get in the hotel, then the people can't follow them. They're free to, to do that again. But that respect, like, hey, how's it going? You doing good? And like, I was like, man, these people are just, man, I love that.
Yeah.
They're real people.
Yeah, because it's just be human, you know. Like it's some people are just a bit strange sometimes, and you know, some actors can say like they could be like, oh hey, how you doing? I'm not having a great day, man, but you know, nice to.
I
like,
would respect that.
I think most people would, yeah. But it's just it's just when it's like that, it's that kind of stuff, you know, like where someone sees someone, just, like it's the eye cut, or it's just the
nothing, dude.
it's just the no acknowledgement.
Like, oh, you cut. I really like the dude, man, and like you said, he could have had a bad day or something. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, if you see him again, and it happens again,
yes, then I will, yeah, for sure. And I'll write in my book. I'm like,
that's twice now, bro. That's twice. You know.
So I am getting us off track. Let's try and rein this. I'm having a great time. I hope you're having a good time.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Let's try and rein it back in a little bit. It's my fault. We both love movies, and it's fun to talk these movies, but it's all part of like our culture, you know, all part of like what we loved growing up and still love as adults. So like Batman, Ninja Turtles, like these heroic tropes of you know down and out becoming a hero. This stuff is stuff that still interests us, that we still, you know, it still works on me. You know, absolutely. I love these kind of stories and stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so, these two we've mentioned, they've inspired so many more.
Oh man,
stories as well, right? You know,
and they will keep on doing that.
Because I mean, I don't know about you, Greg, but I feel like if there's no TMNT, then there's no Thundercats, there's no Street Show, there's so many SWAT Cats, there's so many, like, you know, like that period, like the late 80s, early 90s, like all these like beast anamorphic type characters, like they've all birthed from the TMNT for me. Yes. You know, like that's what
absolutely 100%, dude. 100%. I never really thought about that.
Yeah, Batman with the heroes, loads of heroes are inspired by Batman. You know, I think Tony Stark was even inspired by Batman. You know, like
I think so. Yeah, like it was kind of like their version, but instead of dark, they went light. You know, with the gold armor and the red and gold. And
we need a Batman type character in Mythic Legions, in Mythos.
That's a good idea. I like that.
Can you imagine they go and fight crime? It might be in a medieval village though, you know, than the whole of Mythos. There's just too much going on. I have one.
Yeah, it's too much. There's too much going on. So, how was it like? Was there? I'm always amazed. Well, I was raised by my grandparents, and so I didn't get like bombarded with toys. So, like, what was your childhood when it came to toys? What were you given a lot? Were you given like for your birthday? Like, how was it for you?
Yeah, well, you know what? Being the youngest of 5, naturally, you know, some siblings think I got given, you know, Mars and Jupiter and, you know, everything basically. That's their memory of it.
You're the baby boy. You're the baby boy.
I mean, I feel like, you know, I'm not a parent yet, but I feel like, you know, I know enough to know that, you know, it usually gets easier, like, you know, when you have kids, right? Like,
they've got it figured out.
Yeah, so the young ones are meant to have it easier because the parents know more. You know,
a lot of times people don't really give credit to the parents, because when you're starting out, when you're young, you don't have a lot. You know what I mean? Like I was a dishwasher, you know, when I met my ex-wife, and she had a 1-year-old. Like, we struggled, you know what I mean? So he didn't have a lot when we were still starting out, you know. So maybe after time, you know, yes, I can afford to give him this iPod Nano or something, you know what I mean, as opposed to, you know, so like at being the 5th, like maybe your parents are doing a little bit better.
Yeah, and also it's
wrong with that.
Yeah, there's hand-me-downs as well, you know, and yes. So there's more toys in the house, you know, because by then they don't want certain things that they can just give me. But you know, I mean, I definitely got, like, you know, got presents on birthdays and stuff like that. I know some families don't do that. Like, I've got friends that wasn't really a thing in their house. But I got enough to where I had a good collection, but I still used to pretend that certain cheap figures were other figures.
You do that too, yeah.
You know, like you kind of just like get something that's from like the market. You know, like they have the market. You go to a market and they got like the cheaper GI Joes there, or stuff that is bootleg, like the bootlegs, right? So you buy stuff, you pretend that is
right. Yeah, if you squint your eyes when you're playing a little bit, then he could be anybody.
Yeah,
kind of your eyes a little bit, you know.
you find a figure with a cowboy hat, you can say it's Woody from Toy Story.
You're good to go. Yeah.
You find a way to make it work, and we were probably customizing before we knew what customizing.
Right, exactly. You made it work. You made it work, man.
Capes and all kinds. But yeah, no, I definitely got. And I had Thundercats. Even though Thundercats is slightly before me, I still am into Thundercats, and I had a few Thundercats. And
I love the Thunder. That was probably my favorite cartoon growing up. I just loved it,
and
it still holds up. The animation, it's still good.
Great, it's another one, man. It's because of the heart and the soul and the music and like the journey and I mean, with Lionel, that whole like you're destined to be great, but you got to earn it every moment. Like he's got the body, he has the body and everything, but his mind has to catch up to his body.
I thought that was so original, you know what I mean? And I didn't really think about it as a kid, but when I watched some episodes maybe last year, and I'm like, this is like, there's more to it than just action, you know what I mean? Like this guy is. And like if you watch it, he's like, I'm sorry, like he's dealing with like doubt, like, I messed up again, and they're gonna be tough on me, and like he was trying to be like the leader that he thought that he was supposed to be, and they were not tough on him or anything. There wasn't like that kind of thing. Like they would chide him and joke with him and stuff, but like that was kind of, I don't know, like what do you think that means psychologically? Like
it's powerful, isn't it? Because like when he was in stasis, his body grew, didn't it? But his mind was still like, he hadn't experienced what you thought he would have with the age he now is. However, he's got Panthro there, who's like his uncle, and he's got Chitara, and Tai. He's got these legendary warriors, and then he's got ones younger than him in the Wily Cat and Wily Kit.
Yeah,
he's got people around him. He's got Snarf, like all these characters, but it's interesting because he's the prince, isn't he? He's meant to take over.
Yeah, he's destined for greatness.
Yeah, but he
doesn't know what he's doing. Like
I think we can all relate to that.
Out.
We can all relate to that because we all have potential.
Right.
It's just about doing the right things and making the right choices and going through the trials.
He's kind of learning on the job.
Yeah, even though
it's a hero, to be a good man or cat, to be
a man cat.
To be a good man cat, So I don't know. It was deeper than I realized as a kid, and it still holds up. It's still a great, still a great show.
Oh, Greg, even with there's something that sticks in my brain. You remember when there was an episode to do with gold? Do you remember where that they found gold and then Panthro was like, "This is useless." Like, this stuff, like, and then literally they didn't. Because they had a different value on it. Like, so even those kind of lessons as a kid, where we're all brought up to believe gold is so precious, but then they're looking at it, how do we don't use it practically for anything. So to us, it's just so just even those it's making you think, basically.
There are some social things in there, that.
Oh yeah. Remember the women that all the female warrior village as well.
Yeah.
There's just so much going on. Yeah, so it's interesting stuff.
Yeah, it was deeper than we realized as kids, I think.
Oh yeah,
and they were respecting, what they were doing. They were, they took it seriously. And I think when people that are creating something that's already established, when they take it seriously, they're respecting the fans.
Absolutely.
So that's why I was like, why don't they just put the costume on these comic characters? Like, don't give me this leather crap. Give me the real costume.
Well, they've been talking about making a Thundercats live action movie since it came out, right? But it just hasn't
always.
So,
but I mean, in general, it's like I remember when they announced the X-Men movie, and they had them in these black leather biker suits with you could barely see the X, and I'm like, I want to see the suits, and I guess the executives are going to be like, that would look stupid if they had their black and yellow or whatever. That would look dumb.
But then look what the Wolverine Deadpool, where we all loved it.
If they would really ask the fans, I don't care if it looks silly. Like that's what I grew up loving, is these characters in these suits. You know what I mean? So you're respecting me by putting them in these suits. That's what I want to see.
You're right. I mean, it's powerful, isn't it? You notice when people take things seriously, it doesn't matter how ridiculous it appears. When people are taking it seriously, people will take it seriously. And it's because if you would look at some movies or TV shows that people looked at and said, really? Because everyone was so zoned in, everyone took it seriously. Otherwise, you wouldn't. I mean, people used to laugh at like pirate movies and whatnot until Pirates of the Caribbean came along, and then it was like, oh wow, this is amazing. You know what I mean?
It was amazing. It was amazing,
and they revitalized the pirate genre. You know, so
and I'm a movie snob. Like I was like, I love Disneyland. Like I grew up in LA, and my dad would take me to Disneyland all the time. So it's a magic place for me. Yeah. But even I was like, wait, they're making a movie about a ride at Disney, my favorite ride. You're making a movie? How? Why? You know, but I loved it. I thought it was a great freaking movie. They respected back to, you know, respecting fans and stuff like it.
The adventure.
Seriously, they took it seriously.
Adventure and joy, because you know, pirates. I know we have a romanticized view on pirates. Like we forget the gangrene and the pillaging and all that, and we kind of focus.
Right. The darker.
We focus on the freedom and the quests.
Yeah. You walk the plank, you know, you'll be all right.
Even with the, you know, mythos, we focus on all the fun stuff. You know, we don't think about the crazy stuff. You know?
Right.
You know, so
did you ever take a break from collecting, or were you always like, did you go from like, oh, these toys are cool, to like, you know, I think I need all of these? Like, was there a moment where you're like, I'm not just enjoying these, like I'm collecting these?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I feel like I've always liked to create my own characters, and I've just always enjoyed doing that. Even when I was because I used to draw a lot when I was younger, and I've still got loads of drawings. I don't draw as much as I used to, but I think sometimes I'd mess up a character, and to style it out, I'd make out like it was a new character. You know, because I'd mess up the hair or I'd mess up the eyes, and I'd say, oh, this is a whole new character.
Yeah. This is
you know, like, and I found joy in that, because you know, like, you know, when you're a kid, you might be limited paper-wise. Like, you haven't got an unlimited amount of paper. So you're like, I messed this up, and maybe I don't have another clean sheet, or I don't want to use this clean sheet. So let me just make this something else. You know, and then that's how I'd start creating my own stories, because I'd be like, well, this is a new character. This is like the brother, like a long-lost cousin of Goku, you know, or this is like, this is one of Batman's friends. This isn't Batman, you know? You know what I mean? And then, like, you know, and they create it that way, you know. But I know what you mean. Most adult collectors, I find, I'd say 99%, like, you know, maybe 95% kind of left it for a bit, didn't they? And then they came back to it. I think for me, I don't think I fully left it, because I always had figures and Lego and all that sort of stuff, right? But I think, like, passion-wise, my passion's here, and I feel like there's been times when it went down here a bit, but they didn't quite. It was never non-existent. It was never. You could always see it, you know. And I feel like when I first started my Instagram, for example, for anything to do with toys, it was Lego.
Really?
Yeah, if you scroll all the way down on the CAPN FIREBEARD Baker page, it's just Lego.
Okay.
And Gears of War, I was always into, like, I was into Gears of War. You know, I love Gears of War, basically.
So good, dude. So good.
Dude, that's a whole. We can talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably part 6 of our series of.
Yeah. This is part 1. It's like an American TV series. There'll be 22 episodes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
British, we only get about 6 episodes most of the time, unless it's Game of Thrones. And even that had HBO behind it, so it's a bit different. But you know, we tend to get 5 to 6 episodes, like Faulty Towers and Young Ones and Red Dwarf and all that. You know, but yeah, like I would say that my collecting, yes, we got the TMNT, we got the Batman, Thundercats, and then the GI Joes as well, or Corpse. We had something called Corpse as well, which is kind of similar, kind of in the same kind of. And then that kind of transition, Lego. I definitely got into Lego. I kind of always on and off been into Lego, but then collecting as an adult really is Gears of War, like, and TMNT, and then that kind of and then Marvel Legends. I think most of us have gone through a phase of Marvel Legends.
Oh man,
and some people never left them because it's still
I still like.
Yeah, man.
I can't help it. I have them nearby.
Well, Greg, what would you know? It was something so special, and this is going to lead to the Mythic Legions as well. But it's something so special about the Toy Biz Marvel Legends. I feel like when they came out, it kind of revolutionized how the action figures could be.
Yes.
You know the ones that used to just do this, like the 80s ones that are just very stiff. You know, like a limited movement. They all kind of had like their legs looked like they were squatting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all their legs.
Oh, that was frustrating. Because I'm like, how's he gonna ride this motorcycle? He doesn't even bend his leg. His knees don't bend.
Yeah,
his hips don't. you know, how's he gonna ride this motorcycle? That's not gonna work.
I couldn't get into those. I think that's what it was. I actually, even back all the way back then when I was a kid, I just couldn't. I just looked at it and I was like, I just couldn't. Do you know what I mean? Like, because even some of the Batman ones I used to collect, the legs at least used to, like, were long, like long legs kind of thing, right? But they were still like this, you know, you know.
Yeah.
And,
What can you do with that?
yeah, and then do you remember the buffed up Star Wars figures?
Yeah.
Like, where everyone looked like going to the gym.
Power of the Force or something where
Luke
like,
Skywalker's really muscular.
Chest was like, you know, his he had like a kimono thing and like had all his muscles, but like their poses were like their legs were kind of like, I'm like, these dudes can't even stand up, man.
Yeah. Even Leia was even buffed up, and I think it was because of maybe the success of Arnold in movies or something.
I think so. I think it just whoever the director was, and I'm not downing whoever designed these, but like whoever okayed it, like they had a vision that they were, you know. But I mean, I was excited. Just like Darth Vader's my favorite, so like to get a new Darth Vader figure after, you know, decades of not having anything, I'm like. But even then, they didn't move for shit either. They didn't articulate well at all.
What I can't do, I can't disrespect this particular chapter of my toy collecting experience. I can't not talk about the Micro Machine Star Wars that I used to collect.
Okay, those were hot, dude. Those were.
I can't skip past that. You know, my mum used to take me to a place called BT's, which was like a kind of like Toys R Us but smaller version. And because we had a Toys R Us too, but like we had another shop which is BT's, and like my mum would get me like a pack of like your stormtroopers, like you know the Micro Machines were like 6 or 7.
Yes.
And then you get like X-wing pilots, and you could build them up and whatnot, and again, no articulation, of course, but you could still do things with them. You know what I mean? It's like more of a.
I mean, your imagination can bridge a lot of gaps. You know, it's like you just need something to get that imagination going. And Micro Machines were fun too because you put them in your pocket. You know.
Yeah, you can carry a whole squadron. You know?
You go to the doctor's office for your parents, and you have an adventure in your pocket. You know.
Oh, dude. I mean, that was me with Pokemon cards at weddings. You know, I remember one time I took a pack of Pokemon cards there's pictures of me as a little kid holding the cards, just thinking there might be another kid there who's just brought cards with them that I can trade. You know, I think that's the thing. Like the generation, anyone under 21 now, they have no idea that back then you needed to actually know people. You couldn't just go online and find them.
Right. Yeah, that's a whole different social interface.
Yeah, but even like I remember, like, because Essential X-Men was some of the comics I used to collect. That was some of the first comics I used to get. Essential X-Men, which are reprints of some of the Uncanny, these other ones, right? And like I remember the back page, which people send letters in, and I would always talk about sending letters in, and I wrote some, but I never sent them in. And you know that you could get back issues. You know, like if you write in, then they would send. I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah. For sure.
But then it's like now you just like these kids, they have no idea, you know, like now you just go on eBay or it's like even, I mean, Greg, you know, running home from school, like if you miss part 2 of Days of Futures Past X-Men, we might never watch it. Like,
right. Yeah. How are you going to see it? You know,
you're not thinking in 20 years, I could just go on a website and watch whenever I feel like it, like on my phone, on the bus or on the driving or whatever. Like you don't think that's going to happen. If I could tell my like 10-year-old self that I could like one day go on the screen and watch anything whenever I feel like it.
And that goes back to how huge it was to be able to buy these movies, you know, like to be able to see them whenever you want to. Like nowadays, you know, I could see anything from almost any movie, you know, like I could watch any scene or whatever, like, you know, back then you didn't have that. So your imagination. You know, I remember seeing Return of the Jedi in '83 and like talking about it at school for like a week after. Like, what happened at this part? Like, did Luke and then he jumped over and like, you know what I mean? It was like a connecting thing that we all talked about because we didn't have another way you couldn't go on YouTube and see, you know, like if you're lucky, maybe you would be able to go see it again like next weekend or something. But like it was an experience that you guys shared, you know, from story to story.
Yeah, there was more appreciation back then.
Absolutely.
You know, because we had no choice, right? Like it's like I remember, you know, like your selection of films was limited to how much was in your house. So like it was only like I probably only had about maybe 15 cartoons on tape. Like, and you know, like we record them on pirate videos. So you have like 3 movies. That was awesome, man. I had like 3 movies.
Oh, dude.
Just watch it back to back. Like
I had it set up, man. I'd be like, Dad, you gonna go to bed? Yeah, I'm going to bed. Okay. And I had control. So like I would have my remote and I'm like, okay, Clockwork Orange is coming on and I'm gonna record. I got my tape, it's blank, it's ready to go. I don't know how long the movie is, and I'm like, record. And oh man, and I could watch these movies over and over and over and over again.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I had a tape, right, where you're a big fan of the Jackie Chan movies. You used to watch them.
I've never seen a Jackie Chan movie ever.
Oh, bro. Well, it's okay. I mean, now you can discover them when you're ready if you feel like it. You know?
Yeah, for sure. I love martial arts and stuff, but I've never caught one, never seen one.
Yeah, I had like Mr. Nice Guy, Rumble in the Bronx, and there was another. Who Am I? These are 3 big Jackie Chan movies, and I had them on one tape, man. And just like one after the other. It's like a marathon, but
just leave it playing. Yeah, just leave it playing in the background.
Oh, yeah, man. And the Warrior. I used to watch the Warriors all the time. Like the
really?
Warriors, favorite movies, man.
I just watched that over. I just rewatched that not too long ago. Man, that movie kicked ass.
You know, when I came to New York last year, and I hadn't been since I was 13, and I went to Coney Island, and before I got there, I thought I was gonna see like Warrior murals, and I thought they like for some reason I thought they take it seriously, like they have like Warrior shrines and shit.
Right.
You know? And then
I got the vest that they don't have the vest. What's going on?
I like to see people wearing the vest on the beach.
Where's the Furies at, man? What's going on here?
Face paint, all of that.
Yeah.
I get there and I guess it's it was it was an amazing feeling to see the cyclone, like to see Ferris wheel and to see where they would have walked, because that's literally one of my favorite movies. Like, and I used to
New York City, to me, is a magic. Like, I love LA, I love Hollywood, I love films, I love filmmaking, I love all that. But New York City, to me, like, because I think there's so many movies, like Superman, the first Superman movie, it is New York. It's New York City. Or you see, what's that Gene Hackman movie?
He was in Superman, right? He was in the
Gene Hackman. Yeah, but I was thinking, but there's a Gene Hackman movie where he's a cop, French Connection, where it's like this old school New York that I love. You know what I mean? You see these bodegas, you see these little neighborhoods in the Bronx or Brooklyn or whatever.
Right, Taxi Driver as well. And
the Taxi Driver is a perfect example of that old New York. That's just so cool, man. You see kids outside playing on the streets, and they got they're grinding the can, and they have the fire. They turn the fire hydrant on, and they're shooting the water all over. I'm like, this is not in any other place. This is a unique, it's a magic, but people from New York, they're like, like I last year I went to see, I worked in Long Island for like 3 months, and I'd never been to New York before. I've driven through the state, but I'd never been to the city. And like I went to Times Square, and I was just so amazed. And people from New York, they're like, why'd you go there for? And I'm like, dude, it was just a magic place because everyone was happy. Everyone was happy to be there.
It's a local thing, isn't it? To be like, yeah, so what? Like fucking New York.
Like, people from there, they're like, why'd you go there? What a waste. Why would you go there for?
Like, you get that in London too. You get people like be like, oh, it's a shithole, mate. You know what I mean? You're like, mate, what? Like,
it's magic.
I appreciate London. Like, I love London. I'm not one of them Londoners that doesn't like it. And I think the reason why some people maybe don't like the city that they live in is because of the company they keep. Because it's like, I feel like you can be anywhere, within reason and still have a good time. But I think it's because they're not happy with who they're hanging out with and stuff. Because London is an amazing city. Like, I wouldn't let any Londoners make you feel that it's not. Even New York. Like, New York for me, it feels a bit like London because we have a lot of equivalents. Like they've got their yellow cabs, we've got our black cabs. Their metro, we have our underground. Like, there's a lot. They're very like they're like siblings in a way. Like they are.
Guys have had the best actors though. Like Michael Caine.
Our best. Idris. I mean, people thought Idris was actually American at one point. Idris Elba.
Yeah, you guys have had just amazing, so many great actors.
But America, Denzel is one of the greatest.
Oh yeah, I mean, we got some. He's also some great ones too. We got some great ones too. But
I
keep getting us off track, man. So let's attempt to go back a little bit. How did you find out about Mythics? Let's restart there. Like, what was your journey to discovering the Mythic toy line?
Right, Greg. So you know, I mentioned Gears of War earlier.
Yes.
So yeah, still a big Gears of War fan. Not as big as I used to be. I mean,
Dom.
Yeah, Dom, Marcus, Baird, Coltrane, baby, woo!
Coltrane, woo!
I love Coltrane. Yeah, I mean, I've got such an appreciation for Gears of War that I can watch other people play the game and enjoy it. Like I've got the comics, like all the comics. I've got the books, I've got the figures. So I've loved army building, and obviously that relates to Mythics as well. But I've got like loads of cog soldiers, like creating characters. You know, taking heads of wrestlers, putting them on the bodies of cog soldiers, and making new characters.
Did you pick up the Storm collectible? How are those? I look at them and I think about it.
Oh yeah, Greg. So the definitive for me, yeah. So you know the original NECA Gears of War figures. We never got an even half decent Coltrane.
Right.
The Coltrane we had was like it was like an arm that did that, and it didn't really move properly. I don't know if you remember.
I had it. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, just like
little statues.
Yeah, it was bad, basically, right, for articulation. So, I mean, I've got about 3 of them. I ended up breaking them up and putting them into different pieces, right? But we didn't get a definitive Coltrane until we got the Storm Collectibles Coltrane. And you can mix that Coltrane with the NECA figures, and they work beautifully. Because, you know, Coltrane's meant to be like a 6'4" big guy.
Beefy guy, yeah.
They're all big guys, but he's like a, you know, I guess he's the equivalent of Mr. Formerly Brute Scale, you know, like he's you know, but maybe actually no, he's bigger. He's like 6'8" or something, right? But he's big basically, right? So these are big guys, and then you know he's even bigger, right? So I would say like Marcus Phoenix is like Big Dub, you know, and then Coltrane's like Greg, you know. So but the fact that he's Storm collectible figures are bigger in scale, that works well because you put him with the NECA, and then he actually looks like how he's meant to look. You know what I mean? And so the Gears of War figures are, because I was so into them. I've got like an old YouTube channel called Nem Hill, and I used to do Gears of War figure reviews, and I used to do like displays and stuff like that, right? way before Instagram. And I did that for like 10 years on and off. And I met a guy called JRA Nightmare, aka Junior Williams, and he was a big guy in the ACBA community. You know, like when I say big guy, I mean like just he was active. You know, very like
I know
like,
what you mean.
Yeah, like Boog Nice 10 and all these, and Shartimus Prime and all these other guys, right? And he did a competition, and I mean I connected with a lot of people in that community. That's when I was really into Marvel Legends, and I had my Cyclops and Nightcrawler and all these different characters, and I would do displays. So I'll send you some more videos, man. It's kind of cute to watch because my voice is like very high pitched, and I'm clearly like a lot younger, right? And yeah, anyway, long story short, and then JRA Nightmare, he actually sent I even won a prize actually for this action figure contest, and he sent me some Gears of War figures, right? So, you know, it was really cool with the guy. And then I started to see these characters I'd never seen before in the form of goblins. And I started to see him use these characters. And I'd be like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, yeah, I kind of slept on it a little bit. I was like, oh, this is cool. But I wasn't really into the medieval fantasy figures, even though I always liked Lord of the Rings and I was always into that sort of stuff. But I never really, didn't delve fully into it with the figures, right? And then it dawned on me one day. I don't know what it was, but I just said, I think I just woke up basically, you know, and I said it's time for me to get some of this, right? So I got my first Mythic Legions figures were a lot of orcs on eBay.
I love the orcs, dude. The orcs are so damn cool.
The orcs, I mean, they definitely didn't last as my favorite Mythics, but they were like my gateway into Mythics, right? So I bought, it was three Legion builders with I think it was a Queen. I think Queen Urxa.
Yeah, she's a favorite. She's one of my favorites. Yeah,
they were the first 4 that I got. Yeah, and I ordered them on eBay. And I remember, you know, Greg, the first post I did for Mythic Legions on Instagram was the 22nd of September, 2022.
Wow, good memory.
Hold on one second. That's all right. In your hands, when you get your hands on them and you look at them and you realize what they can do. Yes. And all the possibilities. It's a whole new world, man.
They photograph well, they articulate well, they look good.
Yeah.
You want more.
Absolutely. And then I just slowly transitioned into Mythic Legions being my favorite line, because it was still Gears of War, but like number 1 for me. And I always go back to them here and there. And I probably, you know, whenever I get in the mood, I go back to them, right? But yeah, the Mythic Legions for me, I'm all in, man. And you know where I live, you know, in the UK, there's no store you can just go in the whole.
I was going to ask you that.
Like literally, you know, the closest we've had is there's a guy called Bear Black who's in the Cabal as well, and he's been in the community longer than I have, and he's from Nottingham, right? And where Robin Hood comes from, as you probably know, and he basically he had like some, I think it was like an independent project or something that he did with a guy in the Forbidden Planet in Nottingham, because we have a Forbidden Planet in Nottingham as well. Yeah. The biggest one in the UK is the London Megastore, which is my favorite one. I like to go. When you come to London, bro, I've got to take that Forbidden Planet.
I will be looking for you, man.
Oh yeah, no, you won't have to, bro. I'll be looking for you, man.
Right, I like that. I like that.
And so, you know, but yeah, the what I was gonna say is that he did the post a few months ago, or maybe a month ago, where they were selling that they had like their own section in there. You know, some of these comic book memorabilia shops, they allow people to come sell things in there. So he had a few custom Mythic Legions figures in there he was selling.
I remember that post, yeah.
Yeah, that's the closest I've ever, and that's like a minder. That's like the closest I've ever seen Mythic Legions being sold in any shop physically in the UK, you know. And yeah, there was a guy I met through the Cabal one time who'd ordered some Mythic Legions figures, and by the time they came, he kind of was out of the line a little bit. So I met up with the guy in the street, drew out the money, and was able to buy a Thump and a Goblin Legion builder off him.
Yeah.
And it was so nice to have them in a carrier bag and just like walk home with them. Like I just felt like
yes.
I felt like normal. Like, you know, like I could actually I could actually go out, buy them, and walk home with them. So unlike Nolan, who's got Quake collectibles in Chicago, you know, like where that stocks some serious Mythic Legions figures, and obviously the guys in New Jersey who are like the most spoiled collectors.
Oh man.
You know, Dylan and
you take it for granted for sure. And I can't imagine that fans, you know, in other countries, that's got to be frustrating to not have access to, and even me, I'm in Michigan, and I think I've got a friend that's got a comic shop, and he has some Mythics, but I think poor me, I think 2 hours away I've got a big retailer that he's an authorized retailer, Sergeant Reds, and it's a great shop. But yeah, we definitely take it for granted. But I mean, on the East Coast, forget it, man.
Yeah, they got it.
They got it all. They got it all.
They need, but you know what, Greg, I kind of like that it's a bit of a quest to get them. You know, it makes me appreciate them a little bit more. You know,
there you go. I agree.
I do torture myself sometimes, and I'll tell you how. So instead of typing ebay.co.uk, I'll sometimes type ebay.com, and I'll find all the figures that are not available for me. You know, just I like to torture myself a little bit.
They're like, I'm not shipping out to the UK. That's too much to. It's like, come on.
Yeah. I've been tempted. I mean, the thing is, I know that I could always holler at one of the guys in the US, and I could be like, if I really wanted it, like.
I was gonna say, if there's anything that you need, let me know. If I have access to it, or if I go to a show, let me know. Holler me, like, hey, I want this figure. Let me know, dude. I don't mind.
Thank you, brother. I will do the same for you in the UK. I mean, not that you need it, but I mean, if there's something in the UK, like a Doctor Who or something like that you can't get over there.
Hey, I love Doctor Who.
Yeah, and I know that Doctor Who's like, you know, that's where it comes from. So I know a lot of Americans, I know a lot of you guys love Doctor Who. So if you need to,
Tom Baker was my guy, man.
Mr. with the scarf, right? He's got the
scarf. Yeah.
I mean, he may be related. I don't know. You know, maybe you are.
No, yeah, you never know. Could be.
Cool, could be. But yeah, but goblins. Honestly, I mean, it was amazing because it was the goblins I saw first. In terms of that, I know they were the first Mythic figures I saw. But then I went with the orcs, and maybe it's a green thing, you know. And then I ended up, because I think I'm a bit like, when it comes to goblins, I like them green. You know, I just do, man. Like I do. I like them green. I think they look cool when they're blue and they're red and all kinds. But something about that green goblin look that to me just says goblin. You know, and
it's kind of traditional. You know,
I'm a bit of a snob, man, when it comes to the goblin. You know, but yeah, I mean, but Greg, honestly, as soon as I started to, because Thump and Goblin Legion builder, they're my first. Actually, no, I think my first goblins may have been the second Legion builders, the chunky boys, the big boys. Yeah. You know, they were the pug looking ones. You know, they were my first goblins, and then the Thump was my first character, first character goblin. And then man, after that, I just wanted to get hundreds. I just wanted to keep going, man.
You're a goblin guy. You're a malignancy.
I'm malignant, but honestly, brother, man, full on malignancy. You know, that's what it is, man. Malignancy. This.
We go right here.
Yeah. I haven't even seen this picture.
Yeah.
Oh, wicked, man. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Full on malignancy, man.
You're representing right there, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. That's Dan.
So you were at Legion's Con last year?
Yeah. Do you know what? I was. Yeah, I was.
You said you met me, and I'm like, I'm sorry, bro. I don't remember that.
I was so brief. Yeah, because I mean, when I went last year, I went with my then girlfriend, like my ex-girlfriend, and yeah, basically, you know, she appreciated that I liked it, but she wasn't into it. So right. I couldn't, you know, unlike this year when I was there for like 4 days with you guys, like when I went with her, it was more like 4 hours. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's tough. Like I had brought my fiance last year, and she knew that this was something that I really loved. So like she hung out in the hotel and enjoyed herself. Like she had a spa day. She watched, you know, movies and did her nails and had, you know, all kinds of snacks. And I'd go and check on her and stuff. Are you good? You okay? Yeah. You go out and have a good time. And I'm like, thank you. You know, and it made me feel like okay to go out and be gone because she was okay. But yeah, I get it. Like you're trying to, you know, you're trying to balance and you want to geek out. But you're with her and it's kind of like.
Yeah. And you know what it is as well? Because her being American, she lives in America, like she lives in New York, right?
Now I remember you guys because I remember you introduced me and to her, and I remember you, and yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, but it's coming back, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you know, to be fair to her as well, I mean, I was heading back a day after, like I think it was a day after the second day of Legion's Con. I was heading back to the UK, so of course she wouldn't want to. The last day, like, so I couldn't come to both days because the second day would have been our last day, and then I'm headed straight back to the airport the next day.
Yeah.
So I understood where she was coming from, you know, like, you know, I've been there for a couple of weeks already, but yeah, I understood it. So I couldn't spend as much time getting to know you guys and hanging out.
Right.
Yeah, like
was that big like last? So how did that come about? Like did you just decide, you know what, I'm freaking going to Legion's Con last year? Like I'm just gonna let's go, babe. Like what was the thought on that? And
you know what? You know what it is, bro? I did actually buy tickets for Legion's Con 2022.
Okay.
But then I got to a point, like a few days before, I think I said to myself, I can't make it this year. So I just gave my ticket to Walter because he was looking for, he put posts out saying if there's any spare tickets. I don't think he did that this year because I think more people just knew, like, I need to get my ticket. So he didn't have to do that. You know what was great? Yeah. People out.
That is a great dude.
Yeah, Walt was dope, man. And then I just gave my ticket to Walt because I was like, well, yeah, he needs, like, extra tickets. So then I just said, all right, you know, let me go this year. Last year I was like, no, I definitely want to go. I want to make the effort. And so we were together anyway, me and my ex-girlfriend. So it's like she's only New York, so it's like train. You know, I'm saying that now. At the time, the journey didn't seem so clear to us, but looking back, I'm like, it was easy, but it didn't feel easy at the time because we didn't.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's not like us in the States where we just, you know, like I hopped in a car. I mean, I packed and stuff, but it was 10 hours. You know, in a car where I could get out and stretch my legs and, you know, have a snack or whatever, or stop at a Target and look around or something. It's a journey for you, you know, you passport.
Yes, it's a quest. I mean, because she was living in New York, so like we could come from New York, and then when we left, we just go back to New York, right? But obviously this time I'm coming straight from London. Like I'm not coming there for anything else. I wasn't already in the country. You know what I mean? It was like, yo, my mission is to come to Legion's Con. So I still want to explore New Jersey because I know there's a lot to see, you know, like, and
I need to too.
Yeah, we should do that, man. We should do that.
For sure. Now this year, my man, this guy right here, dude, you were like the talk of the town. Everybody knew you. Everybody loves you. Like, I was like, hey, this is my friend. Hey, what's up, Elijah? Like I thought I was doing you a favor by introducing you, and like people already knew you.
Oh no,
this guy is rock star, man. Everybody knew you.
Oh, that's awesome, man. You know what it is, Greg? It's interesting because I feel like I remember sitting in, the pub that we sit in the hotel, and I sat there and I remember talking like I'm sitting there eating because a lot of time, like, I'm not saying you forget to eat, but you know, like a lot of time, like spend a lot of time talking, so you kind of float.
I know. I was like, even me, you know, obviously I don't miss many meals, but I'm like, oh shit, I gotta actually stop, and it's been a while. You know, I gotta
we gotta eat actual food, right, as opposed to snacks.
Yeah, you're excited, man. There's a
yeah.
lot to do.
So I'm sitting there eating my food finally, right, and then people like, in the space of maybe like 15 minutes, I think like I saw about 6 different people, right. And so literally, some lady came up and goes, "Are you like a celebrity? Like, are you on?" Like, and I said to her, I said, "Listen, I said, here we all are,
dude.
Everyone knows everyone. You know what I mean? Like,
it's so weird, man. It's like I call it a pocket universe that we're in, where like you know, everyone seems to know everybody. You know, even if I haven't met someone, I still feel like I know them. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, there's, you know, hey, what's up, man? Hey, how you know, like, and it's cool. Like everyone is cool and accessible. You can do that.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
What's up, Dub? How you doing, man? You know, even if I've never met Big Dub, I'm like, hey, there's Big Dub. How you doing, man?
You feel like you're not, especially Dub, because he's got so many videos where he lets us into his life.
Yes.
Shows us his family and his collection and everything. Right? I feel like I know. We could find out anything about Dub if you watch enough of his videos. You can find out his chocolates and all kinds, you know. But it's amazing, and Dub's obviously so friendly as well. He made me feel really friendly, like feel really comfortable.
Nice. Yeah,
last year. Yeah, because he just embraces everyone, you know. And it's interesting because you know, like you find yourself like, because of the aliases that we have, because most of us have got aliases, right?
Right.
You meet people, like there's people I went up to knowing who they were or who they are, and they're cool. They're just like, oh hey, cool, man. And then I'm like, oh yeah, you know, like, and you tell them your alias, they're like, dude.
Oh yeah.
And then you're like, one of the insightful imagery. Like he didn't realize that, because I even bought something off him, like I pre-ordered it. So and then when I seen him, he's not realized that we talk, like that we like each other's like posts. Yeah. And he's realized he's came back, and then he's like offered to buy me a drink, and then offered to buy him a drink. Right. It's just love. It's love anyway, but it's more love when you're like, oh, I actually know you. You know what I mean?
Love that, man.
Yeah.
I fully embrace, and I felt like you did too. Like this, you're like in your element with your people. You know what I mean? Like everyone was good to everybody. Everyone was happy to see everybody. There was love for everyone. And we were accepted, you know, all races, creeds, colors.
Oh yeah.
Everything. Like it didn't matter. We were all accepted and loved, and you know what I mean, embraced. And it's just a magic. And it's because of these figures. It's because of the creators.
Yeah.
Started it, and like,
yeah, it is mind-boggling sometimes in the coolest way, isn't it? Because it's like it's such a special community of people that just want to basically create and have fun, and this is like the conveyor belt. And that's why I know everyone, I think even people watching this now who've not been to the convention, they always hear the same things, which is, oh, it's more than just the toys and whatnot. And I think it's hard to fully understand that until you actually come to one of these conventions.
Yes, that's why I say it's like, you know, and I get today a lot of people like their social anxieties, and you know, they're awkward, or it's tough to be, you know, out there with people, or maybe they're used to being, you know, reclusive because of, you know, COVID or whatever. I get that, but like just collecting the figures, you're subjecting yourself to an awesome toy line. But when you really dive in and get to know people and see like the depths of generosity and friendship and kindness in this community, and I think like Legion's Con is just that. It's just like a love fest of the toys, but also just a celebration of our friendships that we all have together.
Absolutely, yeah. And when people ask me about it, or people like, oh, where are you off to, or what have you been up to? And I'm like, oh, you know, so you call it an art show, don't we? We say it's an art show, because that's the easiest way to describe it in one sentence without having to tell people too much, because they didn't ask. But then you know, when you break it down, it's like it's so much. It's like there's so much going on. I mean, I think you know, like last year, I don't think I even went into the 4 Horsemen line last year. No, I didn't, because I wasn't my focus at all. I was more focused. Obviously, I had limited time, but my focus was to mainly just talk to people and see customs and all that sort of stuff. You know, so that's what I spent most of my time doing. And even this year, like, you know, like there's just certain things, like, you know, we had to go and collect our swigs. It was like you put your swigs on the table, you come back.
Yes.
I remember saying to a couple of guys, I said, they've told me I've got to come back at this time, man, but I don't want to leave the room. Like, I don't want
Right.
to, yeah, I don't want to go back upstairs. And they brought it, and Kent actually did bring everyone's swigs to them who didn't come upstairs. Yeah, there's some of the guys in the background.
Yeah.
You know, and it's funny because even the phone numbers, like I didn't realize that the phone numbers were visible on there, but no, it's you know, in the pictures, like but again, it's cool, like, you know, because everyone in the community is just cool. You wouldn't even care, like, if
everybody's cool, man.
You know, but yeah, it just there's so much to unpack and digest about Legion's Con, and I feel like now that I've done 4 days, Greg, I don't know if I can not do 4 days next time. You know,
I know, man. I'm getting married next year, and it's like I'm like, okay, I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to go, but you know, she's like, you know, we can go, and I'm like, okay, thank you, but just for a day. But I'm like, that's good enough. I mean, it's gonna, you know, I'm grateful, you know, thank you for, you know, because it's kind of like gonna be her year next year, and we're gonna, you know, we're spending all our money on having a good wedding and stuff. So
Greg, you can't get married at the hotel, can you? Is that possible?
I mean, yeah, you know, I mean, maybe Jeremy can, you know, give me away or something. Or
can you imagine? Like, oh my gosh,
yeah, have swigs on the cake and stuff, you know. But if I did that, you know, I may not be married very long. She might be like, you know what, this guy's an asshole. Like, this guy's all about Legion's Con and Mythics. He doesn't care about me.
That would be a moment.
She said, yeah, you know, we can do that. So I'm like, thank you, you know, because she really wants to see New York City and she's never been there. So I figured that's what I figured. I'm like, let's go to Legion's Con for Saturday, and then we'll go on from there. We'll go to New York City for a couple of days as like a honeymoon kind of thing, and I'll get to see my friends. Hopefully, my bro Elijah will come and
I'll be there.
There. So you know, I'll get a lot of hugs and pictures with everybody, and you know, soak up the. And it's got to be tough for you, man, because or like Emil, it's like you guys are across the water, man. It's like if I can do meetups. I can go to cons here and you know, see some of the people that I see at Legion's Con. You know, some of us are in kind of the same area,
same states.
But for you, man, it's like, man.
Well, do you know what? Me and Mal did mention to me, because when I first joined the community and I was talking, because I used to be a bit more active in the UK Mythics group, but you know, because the Cabal is like the main hub, you know, so we tend to talk more in there. But yeah, I mean, the Mythics group, the UK Mythics group is cool. It's just not, obviously, it's not as active. There's not as many people in it. You know, I know Spain. I think Spain even got one. That there's one in Australia.
Really?
Yeah, there's loads of them now. But I know the Cabal is obviously where everyone is. And I was attempting to organize a UK Mythic meetup.
You should, dude.
You know, and then I kind of let it kind of just fall at the wayside a bit. And then Mal actually did mention it to me, Mal from the Euro Legions.
Yeah.
He did actually say, he mentioned that to me again. He said, I remember when you was trying to do that. He said, we should still do that. I said, hey, man, let's do it. You know, like he said, yeah, like that'd be cool. So I will attempt to do something maybe in summertime next year. Like,
kind of do it like halfway, you know, Legion's Con. That way you get, you know, and, you know, maybe you do a pop and swap or, you know, hey, let's trade and.
Yeah, Greg, that'd be amazing, because I thought about bringing like pop and swap stuff, and I was like, do I really want to put all of that in my case, like heads and
right? Yeah, I had thought about it, but I didn't really want to separate what I didn't want to get rid of and what I wanted to get rid of.
Yeah,
like, I didn't do that. So it's like, you know, my luck, the people would start grabbing the stuff that I didn't really want to get rid of. And I'm like, wait. You know, so
you want to be cool and turn up with a certain amount of stuff, right? And I'm like, I don't think I have that much stuff to get rid of. Like,
I just got a bunch of spears and axes and crap. I don't have a lot of parts. I just got a lot of weapons and crap because they give us so much.
But you know, Greg, what an amazing idea though, right? The pop and swap stuff, because it's like, that's beautiful, man. Like that when I because I didn't get a chance to partake in that, but I remember I came back from, I think Joe and Jesse and I, we went to a restaurant to get some food, and then with Whippity Diner, which was only not far around the corner. When I've come back, then I'm walking through and I'm seeing like the sort of almost the end of it, but I had to go to a podcast because, you know, there were so many podcasts. Like,
yes, I know. I missed it too.
Yeah, so I kind of walked through it, and Dylan was there, and a couple of the guys were still there. And I was seeing stuff, and I was like, I was a bit of a magpie. Well, I was a magpie the whole time. A magpie in a jewelry shop.
Oh man, for sure.
Just everywhere,
you're like, there's so much to see, and
there's so. But I spent way more this year than I did last year. Like last year, I didn't spend even I think even half as much as what I spent, you know. But yeah, man. I mean, even the exclusives, like I didn't last year at the Valiant Night, man. You know my Valiant Night story, Greg? I think did I tell you it?
Tell it for us. I don't know if you did or not. Let's hear it, man.
Yeah, so last year so I remember Kevin Boots. Kevin Boots came up to me and he showed me the Valiant Knight. And back then I was so obsessed with goblins that I couldn't see anything else. You know what I mean? Like nothing else existed outside of the goblin. They did, but that was my focus.
Right, you had the tunnel vision. You had the
goblins. Just get the goblins and get out. You know, get the goblins. So he came up to me and he showed me the Valiant Knight. I was like, oh, they just released this, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And I was,
on, brother, right on. That's
yeah,
cool.
like, you know, like I'm,
that's
not a goblin, but I'm, you know, cool. And then it was like the next day when I couldn't go to the second day because obviously I was spending time with my girlfriend, and literally like I'm chilling there, I'm looking at the videos, you know, I'm the pictures and stuff, and I'm just like, well, when I find a moment, I'm looking at the, you know, the pictures and videos because we're out, you know, we're out doing other stuff, and then and then I see the Valiant Knight, and I'm like, ooh, I wouldn't mind one of those, you know, and then I just couldn't get one, you know, like I remember like a few months later, not a few months later, probably like a few weeks later, I've ordered one from Dirk. Like Dirk had one available, and Dirk actually gave me the price that you want to pay for that, rather than the price people are charging. I love Dirk, right? And at the time, so I ordered a Valiant Knight through Facebook, you know, from Dirk, and then he sent it to my ex's address in New York. So, and then I was going to be coming out to New York to catch up with her and spend some time, and then we ended up breaking up basically, and she never sent me the Valiant Knight.
Oh.
Yeah. So she never sent it to me, because what happened was we split up, and then like I left it a week, and then I messaged her, I said, hey, hope you're well. I said, you know, you've got stuff belonging to me, I've got stuff belonging to you. Like it'd be nice if we could send each other our stuff. And then she just never responded, dude. And that was like almost a whole year ago, right? And so I haven't heard from her since. And so then literally cut now all the way to Legion's Con just gone. I did tell Dirk, by the way. I didn't tell him as if to say, oh, can I get another one? I just let him know, oh, thanks for sending it. Because she did send me a picture when we were on good terms of the Valiant Knight with 2 other goblins as well that I never got.
Oh.
Someone else sent me some goblins. But you know, with the Frush arms, the Frush arms.
Yeah.
Like someone customized. And so I had 2 goblins in a Valiant Knight that she took a picture of.
Oh.
I just, well, you know, I wish her well. It is what it is.
You're a good man. You're a good man.
What can we do? You know, and then, you know, literally, so I've told Dirk, and he's like, oh, dude, that's a shame. I said, no, not your problem. Don't worry about it. Like, I appreciate you send it to me a good price. Yeah. And so when I got to Legion's Con, before I got there, Dirk said, I've got something for you. And I was like, I wonder what this is. And then he did mention the Valiant Knight, and I was like, oh yes, I said, that's amazing. Like, I've been wanting one. I said, how much? He's like, oh, dude, don't be silly. And then when I saw Dirk, he actually did bring it, and he gave it to me, and he said, this is yours. I don't want any money for it. And then there's even a picture of me, like, and then he's holding out. So then I said to myself, I can't let Dirk get away with that one. So then I made sure that I bought some bits and pieces, and I sorted them out, like, at the end.
Nice.
I think shortly after I gave you the money for this T-shirt. Because yes, I was like, I can't let Greg go without giving him the money.
Oh, you went a whole year without a Valiant Knight.
Yeah,
man.
A whole year, man. It's definitely a whole year, like a whole year. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, man. And then and then obviously the armory. Like they're not the Valiant Knights, are they? Because they're not. It's not the same color and the same shield. And
you can rebuild except for their. I think the chest piece is the only thing that's not Valiant.
Yeah, but it's isn't it? Is it the colors that are different, though, Greg? I think the colors.
Yeah. I mean, the colors are different. I'm trying.
If people are really being particular, I don't think it's the exact same color as the actual Valiant Knights. But
no, even the gunmetal, the gray is not the same. I was trying to see if I had one. I've got a couple on the shelf.
Yeah, I've got one there with the
colors. The colors are even the gunmetal is a different color. It's the Valiant Knight is a little more silver than the gunmetal, but
oh yeah, there we go.
Dude, Armory for me was just, dude, that was.
I love that crimson color that you've got.
Oh yeah.
With this guy, I just changed his arms, as you can see, just to give him.
Oh yeah, dude. That does a lot though. That's my favorite helmet too, man. I love this.
Yeah, no, I think I'm with you on that one, man. That is my favorite knight helmet as well. And I just give him that sword there. And this is from an orc character. You know the sort of, what do you call it? Chainmail.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just gave him that. But yeah, as you know, it's and that's from the Gerard tribute.
Yeah.
Sword as well. So
Only
a few changes are needed, Greg, and then you got yourself a whole new character.
Absolutely. Yeah, the armory was just genius because like you can totally customize. It's like you're taking a basic canvas and you're painting whatever you want, within these guidelines, of course, the knight guideline of a knight, but you can make it however you want. And then when you get home, you can even like you put the arms on it. You could do whatever you want, swords.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, that guy, that was the Valiant Knight from Dirk. But in terms of the others, I've definitely done that too. Yeah, I've switched them up. I've some of the heads I bought from the tables I put on. I mean, I'm sure loads of people have done that. Like we've really.
How many knights did you pick up? How many armory knights?
Right, so I mean, even when I was buying them, I thought, I know I'm going to say this isn't enough. I know I'm going to get home and I'm going to be thinking I should have got more. I bought altogether. I bought three.
Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't go too wild. I bought an emerald, a crimson red, and the brown one with some other metal.
Yeah, I did 5, and my stepson wanted 5.
Oh.
And I only got him 4. I forgot one of his, so I was like, okay, dude, you can have my brown one because I made a brown one. And so I gave him that one. And I was just like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, you have to. That's
pretty. Did you put on their belts? They had the new belts.
Dude,
yeah, they're good. They're so good, man. This makes me so happy, dude. Oh yeah, that emerald green. Where do you get that head? I just seen someone that had that today.
Yeah, this head. I think I got it from the Euro Legions table.
Nice.
But you know what was great, Greg? That was the only place I could actually spend like sterling. I could spend pounds there, and I had some sterling. I had like £80 in my wallet, and I was like, that's the only table.
There you go, man.
No one else.
They're like, hey, your money is good here, man. I'll take that.
Those guys are awesome, man. They gave me some great deals as well. But
yeah.
Played around with
that Bardrick right there.
Yeah. There with that. But yeah, man. Honestly, the armory. I mean. Greg, I don't know how you feel. I mean, me as a goblin guy, I'm like, imagine an armory with goblins.
I'm hoping that this next year they'll do other like species. It'll be like elf knights,
dwarves,
goblin knights, dwarfs. I think they're gonna branch out and do. I hope so. Even if not, if it's still armory again with more armor, I'll take that too.
And Greg, I think we are understanding, aren't we, that okay, it needs to make sense for them. They can't just like you can't expect them to do a Fuzzmonk armory.
Right. Yeah.
As much as I wouldn't mind seeing that, there's not enough.
Absolutely.
But Greg, do you think we could get like because it's been a long. I guess to some people it's a long time coming. I know Detour said he doesn't like Fuzzmonks, right? But it's he said I can't stand those things. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
But I'll have to mention that to him.
Yeah, he did say that in the book. I'm sure Detour said that. But it's like, do you think maybe because they've been craved, do you think all of a sudden they'll give us like a random free pack of Fuzzmonks? Like all of a sudden they'll just drop that and it'll be like,
yes.
Wow.
I think I am positive that they listen and respect what we want. Like Eric makes what he wants, but he also respects what we ask for. He respects the customizers that want the bare bodies, or they want the pirate boots, they want the sleeveless this or the dwarf legs or the whatever, you know what I mean? Like, and they give it to us. It might take a year, it might take 2 years, because they've got to plan it out. It's not like they can just press a button and all of a sudden there's
it's not a vending machine.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I wish it was. Hey, Jeremy, can you order some more Valiant Knights? Because my man Elijah only got one. Can we get more?
It'd be beautiful, man. I mean, Greg, the cheapest I've seen a Valiant Knight for in the UK right now is £110 on eBay. 100. I sent them a bid of £60, and then they they gave me a return of 100. They said they'll sell it to me for 100. I was like, I'm good, man. That's like 100.
They had some at the table this year, and I was lucky. I grabbed one.
Oh, well done.
Like solid gold. I've said it 100 times. Like, I wish that they would redo that the Valiant Knight is like maybe a Legion builder or something, like an in stock, always in stock kind of Legion builder. That way, the people that are charging $100, it goes away, and people that don't have access to it, can have one. That's why I really like the reissues, because I can't afford $150, $200, $300 for these figures, but you reissue it and I have a chance to get them. Or I can trade. I can get Balam and trade and get what's the blue hat guy, the goblin with the blue hat.
With the blue hat. Oh, Snag.
Yeah. So I can trade this for that, and then I can get Snag, so.
Yeah, Greg, I don't know about you, man. I'm sure we talked about it, but it still blows my mind that I got a Snag for $40 from 4 Horsemen table. Like, I still.
Magic.
It's magic. And what's funny, because I kept saying that, and then a couple of American guys, like guys like yourselves, were like, "Yeah, we can't get it for that price either." I'm like, "Oh, really?" They're like, "Yeah, that's not normal. Like, you can't just get a Snag for $40." I said, "Even over here, we can't just get a Snag for $40." Right. I'm like, "Oh, wow," because I know people might have gone there with the intention of buying and selling, which is, of course, understandable, because you pay for your time there. Like, I could have done that. I could have said, "Right, I'm going to go there, buy about 4 or 5 snags, and that will pay for my flight."
Right? Yeah, you could turn around and sell them.
Yeah, because I literally, I ended up. I have sold some figures since I got back. Actually, I sold the Snake Man infantry.
Yeah, character. The Ninian.
Ninian. Yeah, because I thought let me pick up the exclusives, and I enjoyed having it. I enjoyed playing around with it, but I thought, it's not fully for me, so I ended up selling the Ninian. And you know what? I was fair with the price. I just wanted basically what I paid for him, So I put him on eBay, and he ended up selling for like £82, which is, I don't know, like $100 and something. But for me, I was like, well, that goes towards the flight fare, because it was $500. It's £500 for a flight to get to and from New Jersey. You know what I mean? So you can kind of do it that way. Yeah. I've never wanted to be a scalper or anything like that, man.
I mean, you're a respectful dude, but I mean that could, pay for your trips when you come. You know what I mean? Like, if you pick up, the Mythic 2-pack and a couple of Ninians and whatever, like, you could turn around and sell those, and it could help, pay off your airfare.
Yeah, because literally, Greg, I put him on from £50, like from £50. So it's like, however the bid goes, it goes. It's not like I just whacked him on there and said, right, £100, like, you know what I mean? So it's like,
so that's telling me that there's a market in the UK for Mythics. So we might need to do a little pop-up store or something. We'll talk about that.
It's so fascinating, because I feel like I feel so privileged to be a part of the community, right? Because I feel like we've got something, like, because people describe it as a cult, and I said the other day, I said, I don't think to me it's not a cult. And the reason why is because anyone can join.
Yes.
And there's no expectations.
Yeah, so, there's no like gatekeeping. There's no exclusivity. Like, if you want to be here, you're welcome here, and they will make you feel welcome. You know what I mean? Like, everyone accepts you for who you are, and there's room for an Elijah, and there's room for a Schmerber. Absolutely. Like, there's room for everyone, and everyone is accepted. Just be yourself. That's all you got to do.
There's so many characters, though, isn't there, Greg? I mean,
so many characters, dude. There's so many original
characters.
Yeah, man, and everyone is different. Everyone is different in their own identities and comfortable with who they are, and
and
it's so rad.
I think some of the highlights for me, like, and it's funny because they had the Veterans Day, and
I love that. Yeah, I saw that.
Now, at first, because I'm British, right? So of course we have our days to like Poppy Day to do with the World War, and there is that respect here as well. But when I heard veterans, they're taking a veterans picture. At first, I thought, oh, is that like if you're a Veterans Legion collector? Like if you've been if you're like they're calling you a veteran because you've been collecting.
The old dogs that have been there forever, you know.
And then because I think it's because I saw Jeremy and a couple of the other guys there. I thought, oh yeah, of course. Like I don't belong in that picture, man. I'm new. And then it took me like a few minutes, and I've gone, oh, like Veterans Day as in they've served. I was like, oh, that's even cooler. Like, you know what I mean? It's even cooler that they're doing that here. You know, and yeah, that was beautiful to see. And then just different things that were happening there. You know what I mean? That like you walk past something and you're like, oh, they do it. That's cool. Like, you know, you're seeing all these different amazing elements that they're incorporating into the con.
Absolutely, yeah. They're just respectful people. They're just good natured. You know, they do that toy drive every year for kids. You know, in New Jersey.
I think I'm going to contribute to that next year. Yeah.
They're just good people. You know, and it just and the community's full of them too. Before you go, I want to talk about the new wave. Like, you were there for G-Con? Did you?
Of course not.
Dude. Yeah. So what's your thoughts, man? And be honest. What's your thoughts on this wave and all that? What was your takeaways and your impressions?
Yeah, and well, you know what? It's amazing because as you know, Greg, we got so many reveals. you know, this wave was like a part of so many other reveals that we got. You know, to do with the Dungeons and Dragons looking game that they got coming out. And of course the dragon.
Yes.
And other bits and pieces. But yeah, so this character reminds me of Jackalman from Thundercats.
Yes, I got that impression.
You know, yeah,
that too, yeah.
It was like a tribute there to a degree, but no, it's his own character. Like I kept saying, it's the cackler, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I kept calling him the heckler.
Wendaji the cackler.
Yeah, I kept calling him the heckler, and no one corrected me. And I think it's because people were either being too polite or they were so focused on the character they weren't thinking.
It could be they didn't know either. They're like, yeah, that guy. You know,
yeah, right? Yeah. But no, that character for me is my favorite of all of these characters. Like I feel like that is army building. That guy would be amazing. I mean, I think I'd be about maybe 4. Like maybe I don't think I'd go too crazy with that one. I think I'm more likely to go wild with the Centurion.
Oh, I ordered 3 of him.
Oh, yes, I haven't ordered any of them yet, right? But the Centurion, I feel like, you know, I know they'll go so well with is it Combat Factory? You know, they make their own tribute, like their own Roman legions. This one called Combat Factory. You know, you got the centaurs and all these mythic adjacent. Okay, have you seen them?
Is that the Exesray combatants, or is that something different?
That's definitely it. Yeah, I think I might have said. Yeah. But you know, they've got their own Roman.
That line is so cool, dude. But over here, they are so expensive. The older figures.
I've seen the prices on them, man, and I'm just like, wow. But I just feel like this. I mean, Greg, look, we know that we've got some maniac Legion builders in our community who will buy like hundreds, and I definitely fall into that to a degree. But can you imagine the army building that's going to take place?
Oh man, you know that. They know that. Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be beautiful. I mean, this is a stunning figure. I mean, the details and it's captured beautifully by Trevor again, of course. Trevor's always outdoing himself, you know, and yeah, that just stunning. I mean, I can imagine what people are going to be doing with them. We're going to see hundreds. I mean, have you seen Ryan Furyork? Have you seen him in the group, like in the Cabal? That called Ryan.
Not recently, no. I know who you're talking about, though. I don't really know him very well.
You know, I don't know him too well, but the posts, you know, like you see, he'll share like images of like 100 red Furyorks.
yes,
and it's just
I've seen that. Yeah, for sure. That's some serious army building right there.
Yeah, I'm just like, dude, man, if you just give me a few hours with your collection, man. Like,
right, exactly.
But yeah, but I do love the look of these figures. I feel like it's quite a range that they're giving us with this wave.
Yes, such a diverse selection of figures. Crazy.
Even that little dragon, man. Like I was happy with that little dragon.
I was too. I'm like, there's a dragon right there. I'm good, man. I'm happy. I love it, man. I thought it was super cool because I was kind of like, you know, an Asian dragon would be awesome, dude. And there it was.
Yeah. Like, I'm happy with little dragons, man, because they got to be little at some point, right?
Yeah, like pin dragon.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. So I was like, this is for your finger. This one, bro. Like I think.
Oh, okay.
That's what they were made for.
Oh, that's freaking cool, man.
But they go really well with our guys, with our mythics, you know, like I've taken pictures.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They go really, really well. But yes, but obviously, I mean, I want to ask you, Greg, how I mean, we talked about it. I've got you on video talking about it in my YouTube, one of my last YouTube video, which is about Legion's Con. But I need to hear, since you've had time to digest things, I want to hear your updated thoughts on the dragon.
Man, I think it's the most beautiful action figure ever made. I think it's stunning. It's incredible. It's amazing. It's astounding. I was just telling Joe, your buddy Joe G, that I don't, it doesn't even matter what the price is. You know, I'm not saying, there's a threshold of what I can afford, of course.
Yeah.
But whatever they ask, I know it's going to be fair, but it's going to be worth whatever price they set, because you and I saw it. We know how freaking beautiful and majestic and amazing this thing is in person.
Absolutely.
So it's a buy. Like, you know, even if I don't have space, I know that all my brothers that do order it, if I didn't, I would be so miserable and unhappy that I didn't. So even if I was on the fence, I would still buy one. And if people started getting them and I still didn't, I could trade a whole wave and for this dragon, you know. So I'm down for the dragon, dude. All down for it, man.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, I echo your sentiments. I literally, you know, filming that moment, because you know when I was filming, because the idea was to make a YouTube video, and I did. I put it out right, and obviously our Target run features in that as well. You, Jesse, and I run into Target.
Yes, that was so much fun, dude. I had a blast with that, man.
Honestly, dude, all I did was end up buying 2 little. I haven't even seen that picture yet, man. Yeah. You gotta send me these, brother.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Awesome. Yeah, dude, honestly, that is one of our highlights. And
that was a blast. I had so much fun, dude.
Great. Honestly, I find myself like half of my highlights happened before Legion's Con officially started.
Right?
You know? Like when I look at my pictures on my phone and the videos, I'm like, half of these pictures are before the first day of Legion's Con, because we're running around for like 2 days. And I had some and I'm really proud of my self-control when I was with you guys, because I only bought.
Did, dude. I was shocked because you're like, "Oh, mate, that's cool. I like that." And I'm like, "This guy's not buying nothing. This guy's good, man. He's good, or maybe he's got it already. I don't know."
Oh no, Greg, no, man. Because the thing is, I had some gargoyles in my hand, man, and I was so tempted to pull the trigger on. I think it was Hudson. I was so tempted to buy Hudson, and in the end, I just reserved myself to 2 Velociraptors, and obviously what we really needed, which was underwear.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Well, let me know if there's something that you're looking for that you can't find there. Let me know. I can grab it, dude.
Thank you, brother, man. Yeah, no, it was also, and you know, for me, because I'm the foreigner, man. Like with you when I'm with you guys, like anything's cool. Any shop that I go to, like Target's cool.
You were so happy, dude. You were so.
Because it's like you know, we've got superstores like Tesco's and Asda, and that's what they're called. You probably be kind of interested too, because like, oh, this is a whole.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's how I would be if I was in your country. You know,
everything's even the toothpaste is cool. You know,
this is amazing. So we got 2 minutes before the video will cut off.
Oh, okay. So you asked about the dragon. I'm into it. Awesome. Can't wait. Excited, and I can't wait to see all the army builds that some of the people in our community are gonna do.
Dude, it's gonna be amazing, and I want to keep talking. So we're gonna have to do a part 2. Because there's a lot more to talk about, man. There's a lot more that we even alluded to that we didn't even get to. You know, we're so busy talking about movies and good times and stuff that I didn't really get to get to where I wanted to. So we're gonna have to pencil in another time.
Yep.
And dude, I appreciate you so much, Elijah. Thank you so damn much, dude. We've got like a minute left. Thank you, dude. That I don't even know what else to say, man. I appreciate your time. You're an amazing dude, man. And I appreciate
it. It takes one to know one, and I'm excited to do this again.
Yes, soon, dude.
Yeah, and I'm starting my podcast soon, so when I do, I've got to get.
Oh man, I'm there for it, dude. Let me know.
It's gonna be called Londinium Legions.
There it is, dude. That's a scoop right there, man. There it is.
Greg, we'll catch up, brother.
Yes, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for putting up with us for 2 hours. We're gonna do it again soon. And I can't wait to talk to you again, bro.
Cheers. Take it easy, guys. Peace.
Remember, friends, to always have fun, be curious, share, and enjoy what this line has to offer. Come for the toys, but stay for the friends. Good night, and thank you very much.